snap. Hey, what's going on out there, YouTube? This is SEL0320 representing JVS. I'm back here again for a brand new TV show review for the show, The Vampire Diaries. I love the show. It's in its 7th season. This is episode number 3. The name of this episode is The Age of Innocence. What did I think about this episode? I love the history aspect of this episode. One thing that I've noticed, and I haven't looked at the originals, the 3rd season yet. I haven't looked at one episode fully. But what I'm looking at these previews is that there's so many new characters and there's so much going on. And not just that, like the originals have like thousands of years of history, you know what I'm saying? But Stefan and Damon, they have like about roughly 150 years worth of back history. So it's like, it's not something that's like too much for me to grasp. And I'm like thinking about, man, if they're doing the same exact thing with the originals, like I don't know if I even care to want to delve into those other characters. But looking at this, these heretics and their involvement with not just with Lily, but with Damon and with Stefan, I love both sides of those histories because you find out that Stefan had a really deep connection with one of the heretics, the one that actually put the spell on Caroline so that he can't basically touch her. Caroline initially thought it was to protect her away from the other sisters, but really it was to really keep her away from Stefan. And she finds out quick because basically the girl, Valerie is her name, is really trying to torture Caroline, essentially, not physically but emotionally. Her sisters basically called her the most maniacal one out of all of them, and I can kind of see that being the case because she's tortured. She's been tortured by somebody by the name of Julian, and his connection with Lily, I thought that was actually pretty interesting as well because I was thinking to myself, I was like, Lily, I mean, I don't want to step on Lily's toes. Like, I think that Lily, she's cutthroat. I really do think that at her core, if anything else happens to any of them, like, people are going to die. Like, we have not seen Lily really lose it, and that's one of the things that's appealing about this show. But as far as Julian's concerned, he sounds like a masochist. He sounds like honestly, like a sick, sadistic person. So because of that fact, it makes for interesting storytelling. And what he does to Valerie in this episode, in like basically de-raveling the relationship with Stefan, I thought that was really good. I actually liked that part about this episode. One thing that I guess I didn't necessarily like is the fact that Bonnie is letting too many things go. She's dabbling in with everybody. She tried to help Matt and trying to go and secure and do this, that, and the other. She went out of guilt to try to help Damon go and kill one of the heretics. And now she's helping Rick with the Bloodstone, even though like she knew like even touching the Bloodstone showed nothing but like basically like a curse on her mind because she could do nothing but see all the deaths of people being cut. And what is that connection with Lily? Why did Lily want that stone? And obviously now, for me, putting 2 to 2 together, she wants that Bloodstone to be able to resurrect Julian, most likely. And I thought that's really good. That's really good storytelling. But one thing I didn't like is the fact that Bonnie is too passive. Bonnie, to me, the last time I saw Bonnie, before Elena died and before everything happened, well, not died, but you know, she was upset. She was, I mean, mentally, emotionally, she was scarred. And I mean, I can see that coming out in a passive way, which is what she's kind of doing and projecting. But to me, I'm like, to me, it's dooming the character. When you try to help and save everybody, which is what Bonnie always tries to do, she ends up dying in the end. And I feel like this time she won't come back from it. I think the strengths are too much, and not just that, I don't know, if something really did happen to her, I don't think that Damon would go out of his way to try to bring her back to life, you know what I'm saying? But we'll see. That's one thing I do yearn to see in this show is Damon. This is Bonnie and Damon's development. It comes out in small bursts. Like, there was something that happened with Rick when it came to the Moonstone, or the Red Stone or whatever. And basically Rick was like keeping it a secret, but Damon kind of knew, like he could tell, you know, and it was really obvious looking at him because one of the things he did in the beginning, like he was sitting there like walking around naked and like he was just getting on Rick's nerves basically, and Bonnie showed up threw the towel in front of Rick's face, and Bonnie just like, I thought that was really cute. I thought that was really, you know, small bickering and whatnot, but Damon knew, you know, about what Rick was trying to do. He just didn't say anything. He didn't want to be a snitch. But basically, Bonnie catches him in it. And she confronts him. She looks at him. She's like, I'm asking you. You know, I thought that was a really good, you know, kind of touching scene because, like, you don't sit there and, you know, trash on your girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think that's going to play out a little bit later on. He kind of squealed out of it. But it's like they really do care about each other. They really do love each other. I'm just not seeing enough of it. Like, I'm thinking to myself, like, this is times that they could really be kind of clashing versus her moving around with everybody. You know what I'm saying? I feel like they just dragging it out because they don't want to show it. I don't know. We'll see. But one other thing that I did like about this episode was the character Oscar. He's a heretic that Damon and Bonnie and Rick went and found to try to bargain for Elena's body. But this dude's like not just a stoner, like he's just living it up. Like he's so smart, powerful, but yet really oblivious to everything. And he tries to have no carefree. But at the same time, there's a point where he kind of takes all three of them on. And I'm like, dang, this dude is actually pretty serious. One thing I didn't see coming was the very end, which I'm not going to kind of spoil, but one shocking thing about Valerie, and which makes her even more dangerous in my opinion, is the fact that her connection with Stefan. Not just Stefan being her first or him being his first or whatever, but like their real true connection. And I don't know if even Caroline even knows about that part, because when Valerie really did tell Stefan, like she had a cloaking spell over her and she said it to him, and I was like, wow, that's really serious. And I never would even thought of something like that. So for the writers to be able to kind of pull that in and make her relevant to this, because I mean, if it is true, which it sounds like it is, like, man, like that's a lot of weight, you know what I'm saying, to have like Salvatore connection like that. But either way, I thought that was a really strong note about this episode. But like I said, the weak points that I found was Bonnie going to sprint her out too thin, and there's not enough appeal going on with them relationally or even on a friend level. Like if they're beefing, you know, beef it out. If you're upset with Rick for the Bloodstone, be mad at him. Like, you know, like emote, you know what I'm saying? Don't just be really passive on everything. But it is gonna bode for some really messed up stuff coming up. Not just with this Bloodstone, but in the connection that Valerie has on her sadistic level, where she's trying to, basically she's ruining everything, in my opinion. But one thing about the end of this episode that threw me off was that each episode, the beginning has had like, basically shadowing into the future, and then it going back towards the very end, and that didn't happen in this episode. Like towards the end, the beginning of it did show, you know, one person I didn't think was gonna show up because I thought that he was done with the show, but he shows up, and his connection with Caroline, I thought that was really a nice touch, because I was like, who's her fiance? So I mean, I guess that made a lot of sense. But that was a really cool scene, but they didn't have anything to follow back off with it. So I thought that was kind of like a weak point, because they've been doing that with every single episode, beginning and end. But anyway, I digress. I give this episode an 8 out of 10. I actually enjoyed it. More Damon, that's all I'm asking for. And on top of that, like we'll see what happens. Like, see how fun they have with this. But I'll say that every time that Damon does show up, like, he seems like the Damon that I remember, which is the scary Damon. It was just like, Oscar was just too cool for him to kind of kill. Not just that, Oscar does have relevance in Damon's history, which was even cooler. But when he was first confronting him, I was like, man, this dude looks bloodthirsty. And I love that about Damon and his recap. But even, like, I guess with Stefan, the way he interacted with Lily, I thought that brought some, I guess, escalation to their characters. I really like that part about it. But I give it an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoy my review for Vampire Diaries, the new episode, or episode 3. Stay tuned until next week to go and do another one. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Leave a like if you actually like this review. JVS, SEL 0320, signing out. Deuces, y'all.